It was amazing. She would just start talking to him. That's right, many years ago when I was an international broadcaster working in Holland, just outside of Amsterdam, I had the privilege of meeting a very famous woman in Holland. Her name was Corrie ten Boom, and she'd become a legend because of her family that hid Jews during the Holocaust in Holland. And then later her family was sent to a concentration camp in which her sister and her father both perished. And she was on the speaking tour, working and helping people all around Europe. And it was said by the people who knew her that right in the middle of a meeting, right in the middle of a conversation, all of a sudden she would turn and look up a little bit and start talking. Start talking to Jesus, just as if he was right there in the room in front of everybody. And then she'd wait and listen a bit, and then she'd begin the conversation with the rest of the people. What an incredible personality. What an incredible practice. And that got me to thinking about, if I could do that, I wonder what I would ask Jesus. And I decided on a question. I would ask him, why didn't he keep a journal? That's right, why didn't you keep a journal? That certainly would have been helpful. Well, if you'll join me today on The Master Entrepreneur, can I tell you why I came up with that question and perhaps what it might mean to me and you? That's our time on Wednesday. The program begins right now.
Day by day, day by day. Oh, dear Lord, 3 things I pray. To see thee more clearly, love thee more dearly, follow thee more nearly, day by day.
Well, once again, thank you for your time. I'm Stan Houston. I'm the leader, the co-founder of the Christian Entrepreneur Network. We call it TCEN Global. Sometimes our nickname is the Jesus Entrepreneur Experience, and we like to introduce you to the new and strange world of Jesus the Entrepreneur. And what we'd like to do on the Master Entrepreneur, this little iPod radio broadcast, which goes all around the world, 5 minutes sometimes, that's called a microcast now I've learned. Then 10 minutes of clarity, and then if we get really brave, we'll do 12 to 20 for a conversation that counts. And maybe we'll have an extended coaching experience. So perhaps we could help you with that from time to time. Again, I'm a business performance coach, an international broadcaster, an online teacher, and for many years I've helped many entrepreneurs and small business owners. I didn't work the big corporate deal. That wasn't my deal. I wanted to be with startups and entrepreneurs and small companies and help them go and grow. And I believe I've got an exceptional record in helping businesses do just that. And I'd like to help you. That's part of the reason for the work we do and for the Christian Entrepreneur Network. We're going through, like every startup, a time of what I would say cash and kairos and confusion and clarity. Cash, we could always use a little bit more. Kairos, that means we are at a decision point. It's not a crisis, but it's a point where we have to make some significant decisions. And then, of course, to carry on and make the decisions that will help serve our clients and customers and our colleagues and our company in the best way possible for 2020. And we're learning a lot in doing that, and we believe some of that learning could be helpful to you. Part of what we do is try to have a fun time together, enjoy our time together, and I enjoy teaching people how to be on the radio because I enjoy it so much. I know that if you decide to get that microphone and start doing something like what I'm doing right now, it will change your life. That's right. You will have more ideas, better ideas. You will have more insight. You'll have more influence. You'll have more impact. And properly understood, you will have more income. Would you like that? Ideas? Think about that. What would you do with those ideas? Then they'll give you insight. You'll know a little bit more about what to do and what to present. You'll have more influence, maybe impact, and maybe good income. Maybe even more of the money type of income. Again, if there's no margin, it doesn't matter how noble the mission. That's one of the realities we deal with. And that was why I came up with my question. Because I'm trying to discover, how can I follow the master entrepreneur, as we oftentimes say, so that I could see him more clearly, follow him more nearly, and love him more dearly. And I came up with this. I'm trying to figure out how Jesus must have done his day. We have, obviously, in the Gospels, some of the real significant stories and the significant questions and some of the significant shows and actions. But what was his day like? Now, it seems that he got up every morning, very early in the morning, and it looks like he had a conversation with God the Father. And that seemed to direct his day. But then what did he do? What did he do? How did he do his day? I mean, he had every day. He had to do something. He had people. He had a company to build and people to teach and people to lead. And obviously, situations came up. And there obviously were people every day who were saying, "Can you help me? Can you help me? Can you help me?" As one of my clients once said to me, "You're the only person who walks in this office who doesn't want something from me. Everybody else wants something from me. Very few want to give me anything. They just want something from me." And I think that probably described Jesus a great deal. So how did he do his day? You know, it would really be neat to keep a better journal. I do a little bit of it. It's very interesting that recently in the United States here, there was a situation where a man who was given a significant government position, and he was being held up accountable for something. And those of you from America know what I'm talking about, but I don't want to go into great details. But one of the ways he actually positioned his defense against the charges against him was that even as a young boy, he kept a daily calendar. And the time in question where he might have been guilty of something, he could go through the calendar and say, well, at that year, in that month, and those days, this is what I was doing. And there he had his journal or his calendar, his record of those days. Well, we're not talking about that as a defense, but here's, if you'll give me just a few more minutes, why I'd like to know how Jesus did his day. First of all, I've discovered that successful people who become masters at what they do something every day that helps them become better at who they are and what they do. I challenged a pastor who simply said to me, well, I need an assistant because then I can have some time off from preaching. I wouldn't have to preach every Sunday. And I said, that's a bad idea. And he said, well, I need it off. He said, how many times do you think I should preach a month? I think you should preach every day. If that's what you want to be, if you want to be a master communicator in some way, you need to do it every day. One of the reasons I try and do this broadcast on a regular basis is if I want to communicate and teach and be good at what I do, whether I like it or not, I have to do it every day. And when I don't do it for you, I do it for someone else. Or I do it for an individual. Every day, I teach, I speak, I listen, and I've also learned to pray. One of the problems of growing old is you find out there are more and more problems that you have very little control over. I had a hard time seeing some things this past summer when I was doing a lot of driving. I told Karen about it, and she said, "Well, Stan, you've been squinting a lot. You better get your eyes checked. You probably need new glasses." Well, I did just that, and no, I don't need new glasses. I need surgery. So part of my fourth quarter of 2019, getting ready for 2020, is if I'm going to do this kind of radio work, and if I'm going to read the teleprompter for all my videos, and if I'm going to write using that computer, I've got to get my eyes in shape and back taken care of. Thank goodness for some of the most modern surgery and techniques that obviously made it impossible. I think of St. Paul saying, I have to write in big letters, or many of his letters were obviously dictated to a scribe, of someone who would take it down because he probably couldn't see, or he couldn't write, or he couldn't read that well anymore. I'm blessed and I'm graced. What do you do every day that will help you do the work of the master, you, and the way of the master entrepreneur every day? I think it would be nice to know, and I just would love to know, the master entrepreneur who knew a lot of things, had the wisdom of the world and the wisdom of the universe and the very mind of God himself, itself, herself, the universal God the Father, maker of heaven and earth. Hey, what did you do on planet Earth every day? I would just like to know. It would certainly be nice if you would have kept a journal, and if perhaps we could have found it. I guess we're not going to get that, and so perhaps our everyday will be very much like my friend Corrie ten Boom. I'll just have to spend time asking him every day, what should I do today? And then I have to be still. Or as someone said, shut up and listen and see what he says. I'm Stan Houston. Just some thoughts on why I kind of wish Jesus had kept a journal. This is the Master Entrepreneur, tcenglobal.org/contribute now. We could use your help a lot right now. And we'll be back. There we go. Usually 12 to 15 minutes. It's good for me to do that every day. It's good for me to listen and read and study at least 20 minutes every day. Every day, take 20 minutes, at least 20, to learn something new, to experience something different, to find out something you didn't know. And perhaps then you will actually be just as the Master was. A little more and better ideas, a little more insight, a little greater influence, certainly the ability to impact people more and change things, and perhaps more good things will come into your life. I think that's the deal. In fact, I know it is. Hey, please help us out as you can. I would be grateful. Again, tcenglobal.org/contribute now. tcenglobal.org/contribute now. I also have a recommendation for you. I'm going to recommend to you a microphone. Everybody needs a sacred space to do their work, and everybody needs a studio to communicate around the world if you want to make your mark and do business today. And you're going to have to invest at least in something called a microphone that goes along with that smartphone and that computer, which of course you have to have. And I'll give you some advice and counsel on that. And then once you have your microphone, guess what? You can be on the program. I look forward to you sharing some of your wisdom, insight, truth, and strength with those who are listening around the world. Hey, all the best and blessings. Reach out to me, Radio Edge 77. Easy to remember. RadioEdge77 at gmail.com. RadioEdge77 at gmail.com. Tell me how I can help you. And then you can perhaps tell me how you can help me. Fair deal. That's the way it's supposed to work. All the best and blessings. 15 minutes. We're done. Bye for now.